My name is Brittany Hogan. I am the Director of Educational Equity and Diversity for the Rockwood School District. My job entails a lot of fun things. I'm the Director of the VIC program, the Voluntary Interdistrict Choice Corporation for Rockwood. We have close to 1,400 students who are bused in from St. Louis City every day into our 30 buildings, and I oversee that program. I also support the social workers and the social emotional behavioral therapists. I help direct the equity plan for the district, and I help with professional development and social justice initiatives within our buildings for our staff and students. We're here to create these global citizens, right? And so global citizens are able to interact with all people, and they're able to learn about all things, and they are active citizens in the world. And so we have to create an environment that fosters that, and that ensures that people are with people who look differently than them, with people who look like them. We want our schools to feel like a space that is inclusive, that is welcoming to all, and we want our curriculum to say the same thing. I always tell the kids, distance doesn't separate our love, and so we want to make sure that they know that they're loved and cared for all the time. It definitely takes a village. Representation matters. Seeing someone who looks like you within your educational space matters. And I also try to show it for all kids because I want them to know that people like me exist, that there are Black women who are doing phenomenal things for all kids, who are showing up, making a commitment to education and to the future of our children. We get frustrated on how slow things can move sometimes, and we feel like things can't move fast enough, but I've seen it. I've seen the changes that have been made. I see them continuing to be made, and so my hope is that we will continue to make these changes, is that we will continue to make education a space that loves and nurtures Black kids, that shows up for them, that lets them know they are worthy. I want to celebrate my kids every day, and I want them to know that they're worthy of being celebrated.
I had one Black teacher from K through 12, Mr. Powers. And in all of my education, my formative years, just one Black teacher. And to this day, his guidance has been a lasting impact. Even though he was my 5th and 6th grade teacher, but I still honor and remember him and thank him for representing. And representation matters to our children. So let's talk about how important representation is when it comes to educating our children.
It's interesting. I've never had a Black teacher, not through K through 12, not through undergrad. And I am incredibly grateful for my mother, who is a very strong Black woman. But I've sought out other strong Black women to be mentors, to be role models in my life, because it gives variations of success. And that is why I'm so adamant about going out into the community. That is why I'm so adamant of making sure that, you see what's possible and you understand that you can be anything with seeing it in front of you and knowing the value of education and seeing women who look like you is so gravely important. And I know for myself, to be able to see the women who are on this panel, it's always impactful for me because I didn't have it growing up. And so you see all of these beautiful Black women who are just so smart, so talented, and you say, that could be me. You choose one path or the other. And then for kids, and for particularly young Black girls, young Black boys get a lot of opportunities, particularly in sports. Young Black girls get overlooked a tremendous amount. And that has been my purpose, to make sure you see what all of the variations of success, whether you want to be on the court, on a field, or in a front office, that your education is going to get you there. And if you're an athlete, that's a cherry on top.
I actually have a story, just one of those things that just impacted me tremendously. I was seeing a patient a few years ago in the office. She was a white woman, and she came in for her breast cancer treatment, and she was just very much impressed by me. And I did not realize what her home situation was. But the next time she came in with her 2 children who were Black children. So she's a white woman that adopted Black kids. And she brought them in because she wanted them to meet me, because they had not seen anyone that looked like them. that was a physician. And she continued to bring them, year after year. And these kids have now gone on to college. And I believe one of them is interested in going into medicine. And that's something that may not have happened if they did not meet someone that looked like them. So for her to do that for her kids was just so amazing to me. Just one story from my patients that I always remember that just meant so much to me.
JJK, you have been a true role model for so many young people. They want to be like you. They want to be one of the greatest athletes in the world ever too. What do you tell the young people in the community center about, being their best and getting that education?
We're blessed, to have the JJK Center and working with young girls and young boys and just students, and for us, we created Jackie Joyner Kersee Winning in Life. It's a curriculum. It's based off of my autobiography called A Kind of Grace. And through it's 14 different principles. But what's important is for them to read my story, but I'm not trying to create another Jackie Joyner Kersee. I want them to know that I walked the same streets too. And I set goals and I had hardship, but I never lost sight of what was important to my parents was important to me. And that was an education, because when I was coming up, the opportunities for girls in sports weren't there. No one really appreciated your talents. They didn't care. My mom didn't even understand what I was doing. She wanted me to get a job in education. But being able to work with, especially the young girls, I have this program called Jackie Jewels, letting them know that they all are a jewel. Somebody told me I was a diamond in the rough. I didn't know what they meant, So empowering them, the confidence, letting them know that, they have what it takes, and you're surrounded with people that can help you get there. But the education is first and foremost. And I just love what the Reverend was saying about, because people sometimes confuse if I'm in a room with them that I'm shy, but I'm not, because I'm allowing other people to shine. And I just love what she was saying. And that's what, when I talk to these young girls, you don't have to be the loudest in the room for people to see you or hear you, but eventually you will shine.
At Marion Middle School, we educate girls starting in 5th grade, and we continue to mentor them all the way through college and help them get their first job. And from the moment they enter into Marion Middle School, they are affirmed, they are told that they are valued, they are loved, they are a unique creation of God, that they have a right to stand for social justice and racial equity. Those are the very things that I tell my children that, I have had by birth. And that is the foundation on which we send our girls and my children out into the world.
Hi, I'm Cori Bush, representing Missouri's 1st District, which is St. Louis, in the United States Congress. People would say, coming in, as a freshman and, coming in the way that you're coming in, people won't receive you well. But that wasn't the case at all. I kept my voice the same. I stayed true to who I am the entire time that I ran for office. And so people knew what to expect when I walked in those doors, and people received me that way. Seen as, as that trope, Black women, when we speak out, when we use our voices a certain way, that we're angry Black women. But for that to be a bad thing, is the problem. The bad thing is that it still exists. The bad thing is that we are still fighting. The bad thing is that we still have to watch our children go to schools that are underfunded, mothers and fathers dying at the hands of police unjustly. We still have to watch people sleeping on the streets, unsafe housing right here in St. Louis. And so, yes, we're angry. We're angry because the people who could have made the change haven't. As I move further in my political career and in activism, in humanitarianism, I'm looking to our youth to start to do the same. Many have, and many are looking like, okay, I feel like there's something that I could be doing, but I just don't know what. Educate yourself in whatever it is that you're passionate about. Like, really dig in. I say to young Black women who look up to me, who feel like they want to be like me, like following my footsteps, push forward, know your mission, understand what it is that you have to give to this world, to your family, to your community, and beyond, and go after that.
Mayor Jones, last June, you became the first woman and first African-American elected the city of Ferguson. What did that mean, being elected? What did that mean for you?
It meant the people had a voice, and they exercised their voice, and they have come to a point they want to be heard. They are not satisfied with standing in the background anymore. Mm-hmm. And they selected someone who was opening their mouth and showing people that we are just as good as the next person. I look at young people now and they are excited that they have a mayor who looks like them, but not only that, listen to them. And that makes a big difference. The night that I was elected, a young girl walked up to me and she said, Mayor Jones, my mom told me your degree is in chemistry. I said, yes, it is. She said, I want to be a chemist. I said, you can do it too. Just because you see someone doing it, you can do it too. It gave people hope.
Well said. Political representation, I believe, is an important part or an important catalyst to racial equity, especially in 2021. So where do you think we need to go from here? I'm going to ask you, Mary Elizabeth.
Well, first of all, I think you cannot be what you cannot see. And having Mayor Jones in Ferguson, having Kamala Harris, breaking the glass ceiling of the second highest office in the country is meaningful for young people, just to be able to say and see what is possible.
I want to shout out all the Black women, especially in Ferguson, who have shifted the narrative of this entire nation and don't get credit for it. It's not just our politicians, it is the activists and the organizers who have pushed and worked. Black women are the most consistent voting bloc in this nation, and we have been for decades. We vote loyally. And because of that, even in St. Louis, look how the landscape has changed.
I think that with the past administration and with all of the chaos, the turmoil, the adversities that happened with that administration, and with people seeing the power of voting that got results, I think that our young people, as well as our old, are a little bit more hopeful. And I'm very excited about our young people because they can look back and go, yeah, we made a change. We did it. And so I hope that they will continue to, be inspired to continue to exercise their vote, especially, when we know how so many people died, just to, get the right to vote.
So I don't traditionally wear chef coats in the kitchen. I tend to dress up when I'm cooking because it makes me feel good.
And the food Tasha Smith whips up, that's not traditional either. You see, there are burgers.
You can kind of, add a little pizzazz to it.
And then there's this.
Serving fresh made jalapeno bacon jam was something that I wanted to throw in the mix. And so, here we are.
Nestled between storefronts on South St. Louis's vibrant Cherokee Street is Burger 809, a product of Smith's nearly 6 years of work, love, and persistence.
Not having a large financial backing, just did things a little slower than normal, but, it was a process and I just navigated the systems and figured it out on my own.
Without a mentor who looked like her, or even a business model that embodied what she wanted to create.
So there were definitely challenges, but, just navigating those and not recognizing them as challenges going through the process. But I did want to have one goal in mind, and that was to elevate the food service industry in St. Louis.
Specifically in South City.
Every community deserves fresh food, fresh service.
And she works to serve up both while stepping over barriers.
They're, not looking necessarily for a woman in the kitchen, necessarily a black woman that provides, the food that we provide.
She's doing her part to change that.
I think there's definitely room for more education, more resources, more spotlight on black businesses and black-owned restaurants. I think that the pandemic put a spotlight and it kind of magnified the issue that we've been facing pre-COVID.
Like access to financing, appreciation for their stories, and a seat at the table. She says now is the time. So even in the rough waters of a global pandemic,
we're just doing the best we can to keep our doors open because we know that, there's sunshine after this horrible storm.
With love, with passion for her community, and of course, a pinch of pizzazz. Morgan Young, 5 on Your Side.
Here's a quote from Malcolm X. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. He said that in 1962. It's more than a half century later, we're still the invisible woman. When it comes to the pay gap compared to the white female counterparts, feeling sidelined during the feminist movement, violence against black women. So I want to know your thoughts on the invisibility of black women. Jackie Joyner.
It's going to always be a fight, in my opinion, no matter what, because we can't flatline. It's like we get this enthusiasm, we get the adrenaline going, but we can't flatline. We have to be seen. Not only heard, but seen. And we have the power to do that. And we've shown it with our vote, going to vote, doing the things we need to do. But we have to continue to galvanize, mobilize, educate, reach back, and make sure that the generation that's coming after us, that they continue this.
Kalia?
What Jackie said, we're here. We're here to be seen. We're not going anywhere. Feel our presence, feel our strength, feel our spirit, our energy, and the acknowledging where we are today. We've been just getting started. And I think that's what I take, to feeling as empowered as I do right now and keeping that momentum. We can't slow down. And Mayor Jones is absolutely right. We have to continue to reach back, and we have to make sure that when we talk about being inclusive, that we're inclusive of all of us that look like us, to ensure that we're all going the same direction. On a team, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Yes. So therefore, we have no room. We got to make sure everyone is side by side and we're in this movement together.
Dr. Oruwari?
Just look at what we as Black women have accomplished while we've been invisible. But it's time for us to get out of the shadows and be visible, because we can accomplish so much more when we're visible. And when I think about where we're going, I know we are going forward for sure, but I like to think we're going up beyond the glass ceiling. I like to think that there is something beyond the glass ceiling, and we can definitely go for it.
I would like to change the word invisible to disregarded. If you look back on history, Black women have been visible and have done much for us to be here today. The question becomes, have we been regarded and celebrated for the contributions that we've made? And so I, want to say that this collective talent that we are talking about, collective strength, collective wisdom, is what will carry us forward. This is what we have been divinely gifted with. And so to be able to use that for the good of humanity, for those that are coming behind us, that is what is critically important. That's my personal mission, to help other women and certainly to make a pathway for young girls.
Reverend Blackman?
I like what Mary Elizabeth just did with that. I was thinking about how the support of most structures is not seen. And that's how I think about Black women's presence in our society, not just for Black people, but for all people. I would say to that, and it's just a question in my mind. My experience as a Black woman, and most of the Black women I know, could get more credit, but credit is not what we're after. We're after change. Mm-hmm. We're after making life better for our children. Just most of the Black women I know, the credit is just a coincidence. It's that we want to move the entire village forward. And I count it an honor to stand on some shoulders and stand shoulder to shoulder with women who understand not just the I, but the we. Black women move for the whole. We always have, and we always will.
What comes to mind is a scripture. Let your light so shine that men may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gonna come.
Before we go, I want to thank our panel for sharing their personal stories in an effort to educate others about racism and racial inequality. It is a problem that has been centuries in the making that won't be solved overnight. But we hope this program was a step in the right direction. Let's keep the conversation going. We leave you with more from singer Denise Times. I'm Kelly Jackson. Thank you for watching Race, Listen, Learn, Live.
And I go downtown, but everybody keeps telling me, don't hang around. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.